You are watching News 4 Texas with Tim Ryan, Ashley Banfield, and Tim Heller.
Coming up in the next hour, one southern community is set to install a very controversial figure into its top education post.
And rural Texas fire departments are looking for help from the tax man. They're trying to stay in control.
And later, we're going to talk to an expert on the Middle East who has some insight into what prompted the bombing in Saudi Arabia.
First, topping our news at 8 o'clock, the president repeats his call.
You can count on Arendale Ford in Arlington on Highway 360 at I-30, just 3 blocks from the ballpark.
Welcome back to Morning Edition. I want you to meet the toughest. There's little doubt about this, Joe Arpaio. You are probably the toughest sheriff in America, and you've written a book talking about that. You're a former DEA agent. I take it you are not a card-carrying member of the ACLU, but you've had some run-ins with them.
Well, they accuse me of having tanks. I don't have tanks. I have armored cars. No, I haven't been sued by them. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
It has never gone to court, the conditions at all?
No, I have 1,000 in the tents. I just opened up Tent City, too. I call it contents, convicts next to the dump. And why spend $200 million for new jails when I can do it for $80,000?
You have, a lot has been made about this tent city out there, which initially was kind of an overcrowding thing. I remember years ago, the Arizona State prison system, as a temporary measure, put inmates in tents and said, Judge, promise you we're going to go ahead and build a real building as quickly as we possibly can. This tent city that you've put up is, as far as you're concerned, permanent.
Yeah, the state put a few in there. I have 1,000. Probably the history of the world, 1,000 up to 1,600. But no, why spend money? I didn't do it for jail overcrowding. I wanted to put more people in jail. I guess I go against the grain. Everybody wants to take them out. I want to put them in.
What is the cost of doing that as opposed to not just the putting up the building, but there are the operating costs as well? Is it more manpower intensive to guard inmates who are sitting in a tent?
Well, I have all different types of criminals. They're convicted. I have 2 or 3 officers guarding 1,000 inmates because I'm short of personnel. That's not a good ratio. But for $80,000 for 1,000 inmates, once again, why should we spend $100 million for these nice, beautiful new jails?
Well, there are an awful lot of people who served in the military, and they said, you know, gosh, it was good enough for us. Why isn't it good enough for the criminals?
Yeah, our men and women went to Saudi Arabia. They live in the tents. They'd never committed a crime, so why can't people who violate the law and are convicted live in tents?
Phoenix is hot. It's going to be maybe 115 degrees there if it hasn't already been this summer. Are the tents air conditioned?
No, of course not. It's not hot. It's not air conditioned in Saudi Arabia either. So it's 110, 120 degrees. I'm an equal opportunity incarcerator. So I just put 200 women in the tents last month.
There has been talk as well about some of your, I mean, you're called unorthodox. I know one of the things you did, prison uniforms were disappearing, or portions of the prison uniforms were disappearing. The underwear was walking out the door. What did you do about that?
$48,000 they stole. I just dyed the underwear pink. I have 6,000 inmates looking at each other in pink underwear.
And nobody wants to steal it. Imagine why. Is there an end to this? Recidivism is something that is constantly studied. The people that you have generally are in for less than a year. Do you see changes in their attitude? Are they coming back and visiting you again?
Well, I have 4,000 waiting to go to trial. They could be spending 2-3 years before they go to trial. But I just contracted with ASU. We will do a study to see how many are coming back.
Yeah.
And that's a good question. I want the answer to that.
You're not a popular guy, though. You go walking among the tents and are roundly booed. Do you care about your popularity among the inmates? And does it, second part of that, does it affect the safety of the of your deputies and the guards?
Well, I only have 2 officers guarding 1,000 inmates. I slept in the tents with 1,000 inmates a few months ago. They didn't like me. They threatened to kill me, my wife, my daughter. That's how stupid they are. I have the keys to the chain gang. No, I don't worry about it. That's part of the game, and I keep moving forward.
Is this the kind of system that could work elsewhere? Because you know, if it didn't happen in your jurisdiction, somewhere it'd go to court. What you're doing, is it cruel and unusual?
Well, when I show them Newt Gingrich, that's all they get to see on television. Newt Gingrich, the Weather Channel, and Donald Duck. That might be called cruel an unusual punishment, but no, I haven't.
C-SPAN and the Weather Channel is all they get?
That's right. I haven't been sued, class action. I haven't had any riots. Where's my riot? They riot across the nation because the pizza's cold, the tacos are not warm. I haven't had a riot since I've been the sheriff. So evidently, it must be working.
Can it work elsewhere?
Sure.
In long-term situations, for example, in prisons, as we talked about, jails are generally for people who are awaiting trial or are convicted of less serious crimes. If you've got somebody sentenced to 20 years, should they spend it in a tent in 106-degree heat?
Well, why not? I have murderers in my tents that are sentenced, believe it or not. But you know, what's wrong with the tents? In fact, you can see the stars once in a while.
Well,
in
yeah,
the tents.
certainly some argument for that. And the costs are significantly different. And a lot of people look at that when we just built a brand new jail facility right here in Dallas County, a new one in Tarrant County as well. What can people do if they are sick and tired of spending that amount of money to house criminals?
Well, I don't want to speak for other sheriffs. I'm the sheriff of Maricopa County, 2.5 million people. But we do have some jurisdictions now placing tents up on a small scale, and a couple are doing the chain gangs.
Is it punishment? Do you see any value in education and training programs and GEDs and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I hate to ruin my reputation, but I do have Girl Scouts behind bars where I allow the kids, daughters to come in, form Girl Scout troops with their mothers, and I do have rehabilitation and treatment programs and GED programs in my jail system. But once again, you can still eat bologna and no smoking, no coffee. I did away with everything, and still study.
Okay. Joe Arpaio, the toughest sheriff in America. And the book signing 7 until 8 o'clock tonight. It is at the book stop at Lovers and Inwood. Sheriff Arpaio, thanks very much.
My pleasure, Tim.
Ashley?
Thank you, Tim. It is 8:29, 19 soldiers dead, hundreds others injured. The attack in Saudi Arabia on American troops at a base there is leaving a lot of people asking a lot of questions. We're going to talk to a woman who covered the Middle East for 25 years, hopefully for some insights and some answers in a moment.
Here, family owned and operated Jordan Marine Lancaster.
We carry a complete line of
Charge your best boat.
Okay, if you're walking around the house right now, just kind of half paying attention, come here. Come here. Watch. Dallas police have a man in custody this morning. They say he had a pile of unpaid traffic tickets. This was not an easy arrest. The officers were called to White Rock Lake after they got a complaint of a guy who was trespassing. One of the alleged trespassers jumped in the water. He said, "I'm not coming out." This is the guy who had the unpaid traffic tickets. Now, come on. The police helicopter tried to kind of coax him out. Didn't work. Police tried talking him out. That didn't work. So the fire department was called in. They got a little boat. Leave that guy out there long enough. He's going to jump into the boat. He is now drying out and seemingly drying out in the jail this morning.
Two words, bonehead.
Now they just need to send him the bill for the cost of that rescue.
Exactly.
Oh, and I'm sure he'll pay it just like he paid the traffic.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Let's just take a look at what's happening out there in North Texas today. The 5-day forecast, or current conditions after the 5-day, then the 5-day forecast. Cloudy skies this morning, but clearing up quickly. The high temperature, it looks like will probably top out at about 97 degrees today as we lose some of the cloudiness. I don't think any thunderstorms today or for the weekend as we top out near 100.
And remember, when the police say come out of the water, come out of the water.
Just like Mom used to do. Take care, everybody. Come back at noon. Bye.
Bye-bye.